giggling ceased and all eyes turned towards him. Jack was the first to speak. "So have you any idea what's controlling this void?" he asked, suddenly deadly serious, his question aimed at the Doctor. A discussion began in earnest amongst all 5 of them, and as their theories unfolded one by one, they realised that even though they were from very different walks of life, and indeed times, they had been mysteriously thrown together. The age-old saying that everything happens for a reason and all things are connected was starting to make sense, even if the actual reason why all this was happening around them was eluding them so far. They were key figures, being controlled by an unknown force, and it now seemed that whoever or whatever was in charge wanted them all to take these first steps towards oblivion. "Right, let's sum up what's randomly happened to each one of us that has led us to this moment in time," the Doctor announced. "OK, first of all, the TARDIS fell back through the rift, leading to Bad Wolf Bay, where Rose and I were able to meet again. Impossibility made possible, but let's not ponder on that. Then Mulder came across a void ship waiting for him in Virginia, USA, which allowed him to cross over to a parallel Oxford in England, where he had a discussion on quantum physics with an old university professor. That's where he met Rose and myself, and this time the TARDIS was led to a point in a past timeline where we discovered the sinking steamliner." "Steamliner?" Scully queried. "Long story," Mulder replied. "At least I now know your reason for ditching me. You were transported into this incredible journey in a spaceship." "Void ship," he corrected her, then thankfully added, "At least it didn't involve sadistic implements splicing and dicing me this time." Jack carried on from where the Doctor had left off. "So that's when we came along," he said to Scully, "because of the dreams we had. Mine was about you and finding the X-Files division in the FBI, and yours told you where Mulder was on board the TARDIS. And now here we all are." The Doctor paused and, looking at each person in turn, added, "All these random incidents have taken shape, just like fragments of a dream." "So the dreamer is the one responsible?" Mulder asked him. "The dreamer?" Jack asked, puzzled. The Doctor smiled, remembering the conversation he'd had with Rose and Mulder on board his time machine. "The dreamer, the author, the story writer, it's all the same entity." "Define entity," Rose added. "If you're referring to the creator, then I would say that surely has to be God," Scully stated. She had a strong Catholic background and always had believed in her faith to see her through even the darkest of hours. "But he certainly can't be behind this void. Why would he want to destroy all his children of Earth?" "Maybe he's decided he's tired of his creations, which, let's face it, haven't exactly respected their planet for eons," Mulder added. "Good point," Rose piped up. "What I'm saying," Mulder continued, "is maybe it's alien, and before you disagree with me, Scully, you and I have seen enough to know that they could be the little men behind the curtain." "That's rather racist, Mulder," Jack pointed out. "I am an alien, the Doctor here is an alien, and we are definitely not out to destroy the world." "I apologise," Mulder said quickly. "I meant the Greys." "Ah, bad alien race," Rose confirmed. "We've also met a number of extraterrestrial terrorists out there in many different universes, haven't we, Jack?" Before he could reply, the Doctor cut in. "For instance, our most recent run-in with Davros, creator of the Dalek race. Remember the reality bomb and how he tried to wipe out every possible parallel universe so there would be nothing left?" "You mean he might be behind this?" Jack asked. "The Daleks hid in a void ship once, then tried to take over the Earth using the Torchwood Institute at Canary Wharf in London," Rose explained to Mulder and Scully. "I ended up trapped in another parallel world." The Doctor took hold of her hand and smiled. "At least a twist of fate resolved that." "Fate!" Scully exclaimed. "That's what this is all about. Fate! Not aliens," and she paused. "What the heck are Daleks?" "Creatures I hope you never get to meet," the Doctor told her abruptly. "Giant pepper pots with one hell of a nasty attitude," Jack added, his voice solemn. Scully raised one eyebrow, then realised that was all that was going to be said on the matter. So whatever they were, they'd sure had a powerful impact on the Doctor and his companions. "But the void stuff," Rose began, "it gave them their power." "Void stuff?" Scully asked, even more puzzled. "Hold on," Mulder spoke up. "I was in the void ship, and I sure didn't see any big, giant pepper pot creatures, but does that mean I have this void stuff as well?" "Everyone who's travelled into a different dimension acquires it, because it's in between each one," the Doctor stated. "Think of every parallel universe being a bubble. The space between each bubble is the void. Every time you cross from one to the other, you pick up void stuff, energy, antimatter, and it surrounds you, like an aura. Is it dangerous? Mulder asked, rather worried. No, it's more like dust, only nothing like the Vashta Nerada, the doctor replied. Excuse me, the what? Scully asked. The doctor shook his head. No, they're more like piranhas of the air that live in shadows. Okay, so now we're going to get devoured by invisible piranha fish. Scully gasped. She was completely and totally lost with this conversation. No, Scully, the doctor said it wasn't that, Mulder told her gently. Though truth be known, he was now showing a keen interest in these alien beings and was secretly quite jealous of Rose and Jack, who'd witnessed these extraterrestrials up close with the doctor. Look, we can speculate till we're all blue in the face, Jack said firmly. What we need to do is stop the damn thing. This void is going to swallow up absolutely everything in existence, like the reality bomb would have done. Pretty much, the doctor replied, crossing his arms. It reminds me of a story I'd read once, Mulder said, where the characters in their fantasy world were going to be wiped out. Imagination was being killed and nothing was going to be left in its wake. The never-ending story. Mulder turned to face Scully. Remember, I showed you the movie on DVD once. Yes, I remember, she replied. The little boy stepped into the pages and rescued the world, and that was a piece of fiction. This is reality. What's reality? The doctor asked. Well, according to you, it's giant evil pepper pots and invisible piranhas, she replied with a shrug. The doctor couldn't help but smirk on hearing her offhand description of two of the most threatening creatures he'd ever had the misfortune to meet. That's one reality. Like I said, they're an infinite number, and the void wants to destroy each and every one. And wipe out the fantasy, Mulder added profoundly. Precisely. Jack's mobile phone rang and he hurriedly answered it. The others waited intensely until he'd placed it back inside his jacket pocket. Then, with a grave face, he addressed his fellow travellers. That was Gwen back at Torchwood. The rift has reached critical point, and there is nothing she or Ianto can do. It's going to keep splitting until it covers this entire planet. Everything will be sucked into the maelstrom.